back to Wild and Free Art. Today I'm going to show you how I made this cute little bee storage basket out of a plastic bag and some yarn. Let's get started. So here I'm starting off with my big plastic bag. The ones that I like to use for this are the big ones from Aldi. And these are just some little samples of other baskets that I've made and what you can use them for. I have some where I keep my rock weights that I have and a sharpener, and you can use them to keep threads or any other bits. So yes, I was saying I use these big shoppers from Aldi that are so big you can never really use them. And you're going to need also 2 large needles, some string of some kind, scissors, a clip just to hold it for when you have to change your string, and either something to use as a gauge. I've just used a copper bead here. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do, depending on the size of your bag, so these ones are pretty big, you're going to want to cut the bag in half. If it's a normal size bag, I think you can probably just get away with keeping it whole. But as I said, these ones are so big and they're unwieldy. So I never really knew what to do with them, but this is a perfect way to use them up. So the next thing you're going to do is just twist one of the ends and run your gauge on top of it. So what this is going to do is make sure that you have more or less the same amount of plastic coming out every time. The next thing that you're going to want to do is measure out your string. Here I'm using, I believe this was 3mm macrame cord, but again, I've used yarn. You could probably use raffia if you have it, whatever you like. So you're going to want to thread your needle onto one end, and then you're going to want to use the other end to begin your wrapping. So you're going to kind of want a tail, and you're going to wrap back over your tail, as you can see that I'm doing here, just gently moving your gauge out of the way of your fingers, especially at the beginning. So you're going to want to wrap about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So basically what you're going to do is, what you want is a full circle. So you want to make a spiral pattern. So here I'm just cutting off a bit of excess plastic that's sticking out. You'll be trimming it a little bit in a while. And then I'm just checking to see if I can make a full spiral yet. And I'm almost there. So I'm just going to do a couple more. Check that the spiral is there, and I've decided that that's good enough. So you're going to take your needle and you're going to poke it through the center of the spiral and pull your cord taut all the way through. At which point you're then going to want to make a kind of loop back. So that'll lock the cord into place, and then you continue with your spiral. Now, making this first piece is actually quite tricky. Sometimes you need to clamp it like I've done in order to keep going, because it's kind of hard to just hold it and twirl and do everything at once. Practice a few times and you'll see that it will come out. So again, I just looped around about 10 times. And then I'm stopping, I'm finding my needle, and I'm going in, not in the center anymore, but on the row that I just finished. So now I'm on the 2nd row. Again, I'm going to pull it tight, flatten it a little bit, come up from underneath, tuck it, and go back around again, and repeat the process. So I'm right-handed. So the best thing to do for you is to hold the plastic in your non-dominant hand, so in this case, my left hand, and do your spiral with your dominant hand so that your cord comes, in my case, from the right and you're working your way left, and the bag goes off to the other way, If you're left-handed, you're going to want your cord to come from the left and the bag to be over on your right. You'll find a way that it'll work better and spiral better. So basically what I'm just going to do here is I'm going to keep going. For me, I went every 10 loops and then I would secure it to the row underneath. Depending on the thickness of your cord and your bag or whatever, you might do more or less. Just remember that the more space you have between your securing knots, the looser your basket is going to be. So if you want one that's really tight, you might even want to go with 5 loops. That's what I start doing, as you'll see later when I start making the sides. But at the moment, I'm just working on the base, so you're just going to keep going for a while here until you have your base done. Okay, so at this point, I'm showing you that I'm running out of my plastic bag. So I'm going to show you how to add another piece of plastic bag to your base, to your basket. So again, you're going to want to take your bag, use your gauge, just like you did on the first one, and obviously use the clip to keep the tension on your string. And basically, so I've made a loop in the gauge and I'm making another loop here. And then I am going to do a few spirals. So a trick here is to have secured your knots just before you swap your bag, and you need to have at least about 3-4 inches of your bag left so that you can do the loops and loop the 2 bags together like I've done. So here I've done a couple more loops around. I'm going under to secure, pulling everything through nice and taut, coming up from below, holding everything steady again, and again I'm coming in and doing a few more loops, and then you can just keep going and continue making your basket as you were doing before. Okay, so here I'm going to show you what to do when you start to run out of string. So again, you're going to want to try and secure at least 1 or 2 loops beforehand. You're going to want to leave a little bit of a tail, and then you're going to, so here I'm securing it. You see I've got a couple inches left and I'm leaving that tail. So again, pull it taut. Do a couple loops just to keep it going. Okay, so now in this case I've decided to change the color of the string because I want to have this little V kind of thing. So I'm using the same thickness of black macrame cord, and again, and this of course works with any time that you run out of string, so it's exactly the same process. So you're going to again thread the needle through one end, come back to the other end without the needle. You're going to want to hold your inch or so tail, hold it steady, and then just start looping around 1 or 2 times with the new cord over both ends. So you have your little tail that you're from the previous one that you're looping, and you're also doing the little tail of your newest one. You might need to adjust a little bit and pull tight. And again, you're going to, after you've done a couple of those, you're going to go through underneath the layer below, pull it through tight, okay? And then come back around from under, hold it steady, pull it tight, and repeat the process. Now at this point, you're also going to probably want to start making your securing stitches, let's call them, every about half as fast as before. So if you were doing 10 like I was, now I've gone to 5. Because as you can see at this point, I'm starting to slowly lift my basket up and create the sides. All right, so now I'm done my basket. It's the size I want it to be. And so now we have to make sure that we've secured the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut off any excess bag that you have at an angle, and make sure that when you do decide that you're done your basket, you do have about 30 centimeters or so of string left, because you're still going to need to do it. So you're going to do a couple loops, secure underneath, so again in the layer, just the row underneath again, just like as if you were doing a normal row, and I believe here my needle got stuck through. Then you're going to come up again and go from the other way, and you're going to stitch down. Instead of in the row directly under, you're going to go 2 times. And obviously I've now clued in about what I was doing, and I've moved it down. So you're going to not loop around and go under to secure, but you're actually kind of like looping around 2 rows in order to do this. So as you can see, I've just done that. I've just at least 2-3 times. So I have a little bit of leftovers. You're going to try your best to cover up all the bits that you can of the plastic bag. But obviously here I started to run very low on string, so I had to kind of stop and just leave that little green bit there. So once you come back on the outside of your basket, there's a number of ways that you can do to finish it off. Now, at first here, I thought I was going to do a little tassel to hang off, so I split it into 2 in order to run one side underneath the previous row of stitches that I've done. As you can see, just kind of poke it under there and pull it through. And then I made a knot with the 2 sides. If you don't want to do that, or your string doesn't separate, you can just run the entire string through the last few stitches and cut off any excess. So that's all you really need to do. I wanted to make this little tassel, then I changed my mind after I made my little bee. And so in the end, you know, it was different. So I made this little macrame bee, and if you guys are interested, just let me know in the comments and I can show you how to make them. They're super easy. And then I just sewed it on, and that's it, finished basket. Let me know what you think in the comments, and feel free to share how you use yours. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting.